Welcome back to Logistics Made Simple. And I have another question from one of you viewers wanting to know more about reverse logistics. And that's an excellent question because reverse logistics is an increasingly important part of the transportation system. Where we once thought of supply chains as being linear, going from raw material all the way down to some end consumer, and from that becoming waste material or whatever, but it's one direction only. We are now increasingly focusing on what we call circular logistics and circular flows. And we see that in so many different areas. Not only when we collect our waste and we sort it in different fractions, like plastic in one bag and glass in another bag and so on, but also looking at products. One example of this is the servitization trend, where we look at products that are now paid for per use and not bought. So the company owning the product will rent it to you, and you will have access to the product as a service for as long as you like. You will pay maybe a monthly or a yearly fee, and then that product, once you don't want it anymore, the owner will collect the product and maybe rent it to someone else. That whole system is based on an idea that the flow is not unidirectional anymore, but it goes back and forth. And once you enter that space of thought and those types of ideas, you see a number of different both possibilities and challenges. One of the challenges in a system like that is, of course, that transporters who are used to transport goods on pallets to consumers maybe, or to those receiving goods, might be required to also collect goods in different locations where they will not have a forklift or not even a pallet to put the goods on. So the transporter needs to solve a bunch of quite complex systems out in the capillary network. So that's what's one of the challenges. But of course, one of the opportunities here is for more efficient flows, where you have backhauls, you have return loads for transport companies because you have flows going in both directions. And even though for one specific relationship, it's more going out than going in, if you add a bunch of different customers together and aggregate that over a whole city or a whole country, you will find that you get more and more flows going in opposite directions. And that will increase the efficiency of the system. And reverse logistics will only be considered reverse logistics from the guy standing at the sender looking at things coming back to them. For the guy at the other end, it's not reverse logistics, it's logistics. They are sending stuff to another player. So the term reverse logistics is basically based on a specific point of view, that you are looking at things going back upstream in the supply chain. But in general, it's the same as things going downstream, but you might have to adhere to some different prerequisites, like the lack of packaging or the lack of load units, and you might have different types of documentation needed and so on. And circular economy and circular flows, they're a big driving force behind what we call reverse logistics. But there's also the flow of, for instance, reusable packaging that are used to transport maybe bottles of soda cans or bottles of soda bottles or beer or whatever. The box the beer comes in can be reused many times, so that box needs to flow back to the factory where they make the beverages. And that's also another form of reverse logistics. And it's very complex to handle some part of the information, but take a step back and look at it. It's the same as shipping it downstream. It just goes upstream instead. If you want me to explain more about reverse logistics, maybe go more into servitization, that's a theme for another video, but please ask me in the comments down below and request what you want me to explain at Logistics Made Simple next. Thank you. Bye.